Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm, and aside from spending 2 days with you, Bradley, I've spent most of this week trying to come up with an edit I could make to Kate Middleton's now infamous photo, and I can't find it.
Yeah,
I can't.
Well, he could have just put our faces on, or like your face or my face on every child.
Oh my god,
that would have been the one.
I don't want to scare people. I was trying to make them laugh.
Yeah.
I think it could have been given what we did yesterday. It could have been yours or my face in the middle, and then 3 pints of Guinness.
And the maybe. Oh yes, that's good. That's a good one. I mean, being a graphic designer who knows my way around Photoshop, done a little bit of photo editing. I wouldn't say I'm a photo editor as such, or a retoucher or anything like that. That is quite a bad job that whoever has done that did. I don't believe she did it. I think that's definitely a lie.
Is it beyond the realms of because phone cameras now can like my camera, if I ask it to, can replace, if you take multiple photos, it will put the better face on the people.
Oh, you've got one of those. Yeah, you got the Samsung, whatever.
Yeah.
Got you.
Is it beyond that, what's happened to the photo?
Yeah, well, I've been told that it's that's a composite image, potentially, from some of those photos of the kids were from a different time, and then the photo of her is from a different time to when those kids.
Oh, we go deep into conspiracy now, aren't we?
It's not verified, but I've been told that they were from different shoots.
You've got a source. Is it a source in the royal family?
Oh,
are you going to Pizza Express with?
All the way. No, definitely not. I won't be having a 2-for-1 deal with any royal weirdos anytime soon. But yeah, no, I've heard. Anyway, it's a bad Photoshop job for sure. But I still don't think it was done by an absolute rank amateur. I think it's had some time put into it. There was I don't know what the little boy's called, but his fingers are twisted round or whatever, and people were saying that was an AI generated dodgy finger thing. But I think you can twizzle your fingers around like that. I don't know if I could, but I know some people can properly twizzle their fingers. So
yeah, I mean it's a weird thing for the kid to be doing, but legit. I guess kids do weird things.
Yeah, kids do weird things all the time. But anyway, so we've talked about the royal photo and how we didn't capitalise on it like every other small business seems to have done on Instagram this week. So we missed. We didn't even swing and miss. We just missed there. We could have done something.
Yeah, literally didn't step up to the plate. We were just still sat in the stands. Yeah.
Do you know what? I've just thought would have been the ultimate thing to do is Aphex Twin. I'm not sure if you like Aphex Twin, Johnny, but a lot of his music videos and artwork on albums and singles and things are Rich DJ's Aphex Twin's face on other people's bodies. So he's done freaky videos with little kids running around with his face, and then old ladies who are monsters and stuff.
So he's the original deepfaker.
Women. Yeah. Oh, 100%. So there's a video called Window Licker where it's amazing. He's dancing like Michael Jackson, with like these amazing white umbrellas, and they're spinning them round. He's got like choreographed stuff going on, super choreographed stuff going on. That's an understatement. And then there are, this is years ago. This is from nearly 15, 20 years ago, maybe. There are women doing, I don't know what you call it, kind of like a booty sort of shaking. And then they sort of turn to camera and they've got his face on. And he's like a ginger guy from the countryside in the UK. So it's very disconcerting.
So what you say? You want to put like Kate Middleton's face on an Apex Twin video?
I just want to put Apex Twin's face on all of the characters in that edit there. That would look excellent. And he should have done that. If he didn't do that, he should have done it. But he's too cool for that.
Well, maybe we'll do that for him,
do that.
And it won't benefit us in the slightest, which it's quite craft beer channel, to be honest.
Yeah. Maybe I'll spend the afternoon doing that.
Well, I don't know if people can hear it. Are we spending the afternoon editing all the footage from our shoot day on Monday? And it's currently transferring, and my hard drive it's sounding like it might be coming to the end of its life. It's done quite a lot of work for us, but I'd expect a little bit more from it.
I've got a similar one. It sounds like a sort of a machine gun kind of noise, doesn't it? Sometimes. And
I was going to say it's like somebody's doing Morse code furiously.
Yeah, all kind of like mad jittery stuff going on. Very much like an Aphex Twin sample. Yeah,
that's good.
No, I reckon it's just the way that it works, Johnny. I won't worry too much. Is that the G drive or whatever it's called? Yeah.
Yeah. I was just one of the reasons it might be doing it is because we accidentally filmed one of our episodes on one of the cameras in slow-mo this week.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
So that file is like 17 gigabytes.
You're still importing that camera, that angle.
Well, I have, because I want to take a look at it, because there might be something. I mean, I won't spoil what the video is, because it's a fun video, but we've dressed the set. We're sniffing some delicious beer, and I just think there might be some nice slow-mo in there potentially. So I'm going to assess it and then probably end up deleting it once my hard drive has exploded.
Nice.
Yeah. We had a shoot day on Monday in which we filmed 3 episodes, which we have learned through past experiences about the limit before things just go off the rails. Because we do mostly... we're swallowing, unlike probably in wine YouTubes, and we'll finish the beers we really enjoy. So 3 is the limit. Which is why one of the episodes is filmed in slow-mo. Maybe 2.5 is the limit. We've got some really exciting episodes. We filmed the next Trappist episode on Monday, which involved the most research of all of them so far into the history, and I hope I've kept it relatively condensed. It felt like it went quite smoothly, but again, we'd had some beers by that point. And we also filmed what's going to be next week's video, which is based off of a tweet and a Patreon forum post I made asking about people's favourite or most underrated breweries from where they're from. And we're going to talk about, I guess, the other element of hype. So we have the hype train where we investigate breweries that get incredible reputations, whether it's fair or not, and whether the beer is still delicious years and years on. We were looking at the opposite end of the spectrum, which is breweries that don't get any love but make world-class beer. So we picked 5 breweries from the lists that were sent to us online. And we had a great time, and 5 delicious beers, 3 of which were dark.
Yeah, it was a dark fest.
Yeah.
And they're all fantastic. I was like blown away by every single beer we had. Maybe not so much by some of the branding, but the beers were like absolutely incredible.
Well, indeed. I think some of the reason they're not well loved is not quite getting the branding right. Even if the branding itself is nice, it's just not perhaps, what's the word, fit for purpose to get to leap off the shelf in a craft beer bar or bottle shop.
Yeah.
Which I think, if you look at all of the really hype New England brewers, certainly pretty much all of them have nailed the look as well as the liquid. And I think we probably underplay that as beer writers and, influencers. I hate that word. But we don't talk enough about how a lot of the hype starts with what the can looks like, and there's quite a lot of mediocre beer in good packages that does well.
Indeedy.
But I'm not going to name
Johnny, I'm just going to call back a little bit to when we were talking about filming in slow-mo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that we filmed the whole... Well, I think it was my fault, actually. I filmed a whole camera angle in slow-mo. I watched something this morning which I found hilarious. I don't know if you watched Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Nope.
Or if you're familiar with it at all. So you've got Captain... You got Jean-Luc Picard, the man.
It's Baldy.
The captain. Baldy one.
Yeah.
Shakespearean, incredible actor that he is. And then you've got William T. Riker, who's his number one. He says, make it so, number one. Right. William T. Riker, his name is actually Jonathan Frakes. And Jonathan Frakes made a TV show in the 90s called Beyond Belief that was all about mysteries.
I remember
and like spooky stuff.
Yeah.
And you remember it?
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember it?
Don't remember Star Trek. I remember that though.
So you might have seen some supercuts when he'd start an episode with really stupid things like, have you ever seen who's the tallest man you've ever seen? Have you ever done like, and he'd say like all these mad things, right? So I saw a supercut edit this morning that someone had slowed it down, and it already sounds deranged. But when you slow it down, he sounds like a really drunk person talking absolute nonsense, which is amazing. And it's hilarious. I don't know. I'll try and find it so we can share it with people on there.
We'll replace the link to this week's video with a link to
Beyond Belief, slowed down, Jonathan Frakes. It just sounds like, when you meet don't say, yeah, you, about me, but when you meet a really drunk person who thinks they're sort of talking incredible facts, or they want to start talking about conspiracy theories and stuff, but they don't make any sense. It's all garbled. That's what he sounds like.
Sure, we could try that with our
brilliant.
Episode. So we could get the audio from the camera that worked, stick it onto the slow-mo at the same speed, and see if we sound way drunk.
Way drunk. We will do.
There was a tip we got from the Vaga brothers way back at the start of the Craft Beer channel when we were talking about the hazards of being a little inebriated during shoots. And they said, because they were, now they're sort of lifestyle, sort of cliched influencers, not travel journalists, but that's what they started out as. And they said that when they got slightly inebriated and they sat down in the edit and were like, oh, we sound a bit slurry, a little bit slow here, they'd speed up the footage to 112%.
112?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was clearly what sort of worked for them. I don't know what our percentage would be. I talk quite fast, so probably we'd have to speed it up and slow it down depending on who was talking. But yeah, so that became like a cliche in their videos now, where they'd be like, if somebody's a little bit slow, they'll be like 112% and start shouting it.
Wow. I guess that'd bring some energy as well, wouldn't it? If they're just sort of even more dynamic and kind of YouTuber influencer arms flailing around at 112 speed.
Yeah.
Just that like slightly Superman, slightly super speed. Well, probably more Spider-Man, to be honest. But just like extra fast.
With all of the
we should start doing that.
All the research I've had to do for the book, I've been listening to a lot of audio books so that I can, go about my day and still be researching. And I've been listening to that at 1.5, a lot of that stuff. And it's, it gives you a migraine after about an hour, but it certainly makes dull things seem more exciting. And maybe we should be just speeding up all of our videos, because we were talking about how well our West Coast IPA video with Siren had done last week. And it's a good video. It's got some technical flaws again because of our inebriation, but it's done really well. And we're sort of scratching our heads as to why, because usually when a video does very well, it's like an unusual brand new topic from us, which it wasn't. It was the 8th in a series of 8. The intro, which, if you nail the intro, can really help a video perform well, but it's the same intro as the other 8. So we were scratching our heads, and then we realised, it's only 15 minutes long, which is roughly half of what our videos usually are. So maybe we should speed all our videos up to 200% and see how that does. What do you think?
Great. All of those slow-mo B-roll shots we do will just look like
they'll be
normal shots.
They'll be normal
and everything
speed,
else
but they'll look slow-mo by
speed.
comparison, maybe.
Yeah. It will be like a welcome relief when slow-mo shot comes along. But oh my God, thank God I can just watch something at normal speed for a second. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, I mean, it's slightly worrying to think that people, haven't potentially got, I won't say got the attention span, but don't have the time in their day to watch something that's a bit longer format if they like it still, if it's a subject they want to watch. I know we don't, in modern life, we don't have a lot of time to sort of be watching content. Although, I mean, I would say a lot of people are just probably doom scrolling, right?
I mean, I think
their second screen.
That's why we haven't grown exponentially. Is because we cater mostly to people that will sit down for half an hour to learn about West Lettering. And that is unsurprisingly not
we need
most
to
people.
get on the second screen.
Yeah, the
second screening,
second screen ability you were telling me about. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were in a very trendy pub yesterday, and I just was telling you about Richard Osmond talking about commissioners in TV and streaming platforms and stuff, talking about second screen ability when it comes to content and making content for like big budget Netflix content, right? That has to have the ability to be the second screen. So when people are sat on their phones, just endlessly looking at TikTok or Instagram or whatever they might be doing, you need something on in the background on the big screen, the big telly, or the laptop, whatever you consume your Netflix, etc. on, that is just interesting enough to be on in the background, but doesn't fully pull your attention away from your mobile phone, Johnny. So imagine that. Imagine how disheartening that is as a filmmaker. This is films, Johnny, feature films, TV shows. That they're saying, oh, whoa. Producers are saying, whoa. There's too much going on in your show. Make it more boring. Take out some of the complicated issues you might be trying to talk about, or that crime thing you're working on there. It's too hard to follow. Make it easier to follow. Dumb it down. And this is what the second screening sort of mentality is all about, Johnny. And I'm glad to say we don't sort of prescribe to second screen.
We've picked
mentality.
a bad week to make that that point, given this week's video. But yeah, generally we don't.
Oh God, generally we don't. Generally, apart from this week, although I think it will take your full attention. The horror of it will probably take your full attention. That's what I'd say.
Yeah. Well, you
but
almost
do you want to talk about where we?
Yeah.
Go on,
Yeah. You made a link, and I was going to come back to it, and then you were going to make the link for me, so we ruined the seamless link. But yeah, we were in a trendy pub yesterday because we're trendy people who have our finger on the pulse.
Dude, I've been there twice in a week.
There you go. You got your finger on
trendy I am.
Two pulses.
Two pulses.
You're taking it at
both.
the wrist.
I
and
don't
the
know
neck.
how. Yeah, I've somehow managed to get both hands on both opposite pulses, which I'm doing right now. Is easy. That's easy to do, actually. It's not difficult. Don't know why I thought it'd be difficult, but
yes.
Yeah.
So we were at the Devonshire.
We were
in Soho, just round the corner from Piccadilly Square.
The Square.
Having supposedly the best Guinness in London.
Yeah, best pint of Guinness in London,
along with everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty busy considering it was a Wednesday at about midday, and the bar downstairs was heaving.
Absolutely
so I'm questioning why people are not at work there, Johnny. Normal squares that have to be in an office job. Why are they not at work? I suppose they were having a lunch sesh, maybe, but they were there. We were there for a few hours, and it was only getting busier as we stayed. It's an incredible operation, I would say. I went there on a Saturday night, last Saturday, with a couple of Irish mates to test out the black stuff. And it was the busiest pub I think I've ever been in my life. That's no joke. I think I can't actually remember a busier pub anytime pre-COVID or anything. It was absolutely heaving. There were about 10 deep outside the pub. It's on a corner. It's a big old pub as well. It's on a corner, about 10 deep, people out on the street, all drinking pints of Guinness. But I tell you what, going up to the bar and getting served was actually probably quicker to get served a pint of Guinness in there than a standard pub.
Well, if everybody's drinking Guinness, you can line them up, can't you? And they do.
They were lining it up.
Yeah.
They had at least 20 pints on the go at any one time. Very good marketing. They had this wooden sort of raised platform on the bar that said the Devonshire on it in lovely gilt, handwritten writing, sign writing. And they were lining all these pints of Guinness up on top of it, waiting for them to, settle down and before they topped them off. And then you just go up. It was the same guy pouring all night as well. What an absolute machine of a person. He did a proper shift there. It was non-stop. And there was another guy that was like, what do you want? And he was just taking the orders, essentially. Packets of potatoes in the mix as well, coming your way. We also saw they had Monster Munch, which I didn't realise at the time. But it was an industrial process. They were churning them out, Johnny. It was very, very impressive. But also, I still felt a little bit uneasy with the amount of people in there. It was too many people for me. Too many.
And it's such an interesting phenomenon that, and we talked about this. So we were there talking with. Talking about Fuller's, talking about the next Keep Cask Alive, which we're hoping will be happening this year. Obviously part of the whole cask campaign that we're part of, and we're working and making progress on the UNESCO project as well behind the scenes. Part of that is about protecting pubs, because obviously cask is something that you can't really replicate at home unless you watch our video about how to replicate cask at home. But unless you're a home brewer, and a pretty good home brewer with quite a lot of equipment and quite a lot of time, you can't. So our kind of one of the main reasons we are doing the cask campaign, it's not just because we love cask, it's because we love pubs. And so that, it's amazing at the moment that the most hyped up restaurant in London is a pub. That hasn't been the case since the Eagle invented sort of the idea of a gastropub, like an elevated restaurant in a pub in like 2005-ish, I think, is when like food started getting special in pubs in the UK. So it's amazing, but it's just bonkers that it's Guinness that's led that charge, not cask ale or even, UK keg craft. It's not some small, unique thing where the provenance is special and local, and it's not cask, which is this wonderful heritage style of serving that we have that is specific to the pub. It's an Irish macro brand. This summer, I'm going to be hosting talks at the Manchester, Bristol and London craft beer festivals, giving festival goers the chance to attend tutored tastings, rare beer pours, meet the brewers and even guided tours of the bars. These 3 festivals are the highlights of my events calendar, featuring some of the world's best breweries with delicious restaurant pop-ups, great music and a really welcoming party atmosphere. It's the 3rd year I've been hosting the We Are Beer Tastings table, but for the first time I'm delighted to offer all of our listeners, viewers and Patreons £5 off a ticket when you use the code CBC5. Just hit the link in the description to buy. See you there.
Yeah. I mean, I think there aren't many more. It's okay. What I'm trying to say is, Guinness fans are almost like Brewdog fans in that they're fanatical, and they're it's like their team Guinness essentially, and they'll travel to wherever to get the best sort of experience that they think they can get from it. So I can see why. A place that's tipped to be the best Guinness in London would be spearheading the hypiest pub. It just so happens that the guy that's the sort of celebrity chef who is running it as well is an incredible, I guess, placemaker. Like, he's come from other really successful ventures as well, haven't they? So,
well, he was Hester Blumenthal's head chef.
It's a magic.
Dinner. Was it at dinner? I think.
It's just a magic thing that you couldn't replicate all over the place. It's a coming together of many things that add up to greater than the sum of its parts, and it means that everyone wants to go there essentially.
Yeah, and we see that in craft all the time. You can look at a brewery that ostensibly makes beer no better than 50 other breweries, and yet they are the one that is talked about endlessly, that has this reputation of being better, even if in a blind taste test there's absolutely no way you'd kind of tell. And I think, I enjoyed the Devonshire. The food was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
I've had better food in lots of places, but
in a pub, Johnny, in a pub. I haven't had better food in a pub.
Maybe not in a pub, but I mean the food is incredibly simple. It's fire and it's meat, and it was very much like one of my favorite restaurants is the Quality Chop House in Clerkenwell, and it was very much that kind of thing. Not done as well as the Quality Chop House, but still beautiful. And I really, really enjoyed the Devonshire, but I don't know. As a beer writer, as a lover of great British pubs, if I were to pick a pub to get the kind of adoration that the Devonshire is getting, it would not do any of the things that the Devonshire does. I look at it and I go, man, I wish it was cask. I was about to say I wish the food wasn't, out of the price range of 95% of the UK population, but they do have a set menu that's 30 quid for 3 courses, and that is very reasonable and
30
very
quid.
Good. But if you go off the set menu, things add up real fast. I thought it was great, and I thought the Guinness was in decent condition. I'm not somebody who buys into this idea that Guinness is any way different to any other pint, in that every pint you drink is good in some pubs and bad in others. It's the same for every beer. But the Guinness was good, and the vibe was nice, and the staff were excellent, and the food was excellent. We did have cask. We had a Dark Star hophead, and it was tasting fantastic, and it was beautifully conditioned. And they also had Timothy Taylor's on, and Wheatwood Ales, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
We hadn't heard of.
Yeah,
but perhaps there's some link there between the pub and the brewery, or maybe it's just they think it's brilliant. We didn't have a pint of that, but it's a really good pub.
It's a bit of a sort of celeb. It is a great pub. It's a celeb spotting spot.
Oh yeah,
I saw someone.
I got very excited. I was stood next to Owen Farrell for a bit, which Brad and everyone else we were with didn't even know who he was.
No idea.
But we were sat next to some guys having a beer, and they were taking endless crafty photos from a distance, which I didn't really agree with.
Oh. Yeah, that's not cool.
One of them did eventually go up and ask for a selfie, and I don't know whether he was nice about it, but they got a selfie. I'm sure he was. But yeah, he was.
Oh wow, you were pretty tuned into what was going on. I didn't notice any of that.
Honestly, like if you're a Guinness drinker, you're probably a rugby fan, and he's one of the most famous rugby players in the world. Like that was not just there's no minor celeb spot.
So if he was a football player, Johnny, who would he be? What's his equivalent?
Oh God.
Is it? Oh, this is good. This actually links, Johnny. Is he a premium connoisseur?
Yes.
Like David Beckham, the new
ambassador,
brand ambassador for Stella Artois. Ambassadeur.
He's not David Beckham.
He's not David Beckham.
No. I mean, well, I guess maybe he is in that he's very good at kicking. He's a fly half.
Yeah.
But he's big and strong and a bit of a bruiser and puts in some tackles that maybe aren't strictly legal.
Is he Eric Cantona then? He's a fly kick to your face.
Well, Eric Cantona on the field didn't do that many great tackles. Not what he was famous for.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe a Roy Keane.
What about the guy that does the mad scorpion kick, the goalkeeper? Is he like that guy? Because he's got a good
that guy.
Well,
trust you to know that guy. No. I don't. It's hard. It's hard. Rugby and football are very different sports. It's rare to have a real standout star. But the fly half is usually the one.
I'm glad he stood out for you.
I was excited.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And we were on the same P schedule, which I think is a Scrubs gag. I think Turk and Dr. Cox end up on the same wee schedule. So we kept he because when you go down into the Devonshire toilet, the toilets are on the they're in the basement. And they've lined kegs of, I presume, empty kegs of Guinness just all along the path because the cellar isn't big enough for the amount of Guinness they're getting through. So it's one way basically. It's like a country lane. You have to pull in at safe passing spaces. And he let me through a couple of times. I let him through a couple of times. It was, me and Owen, we're pretty tight now.
You went for a lot of wheeze, is what I've just got from that.
Yeah, well,
I
was on the same schedule.
3 pints.
Every time we went to the loo, I had to follow. No, wait, that's super creepy.
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
That does sound a bit creepy. No, I don't think it's what happened either. So do we want to talk about David Beckham? What do you think of...
him being the ambassador for Stella Artois?
Being ambassador, yeah.
I mean... And we talked about this, actually, because we're brainstorming, trying to find ways to make cask ale...
we need a face.
Yeah, we need a face. And unsurprisingly enough, Brad and my faces are not going to make the breakthrough that's required to get UNESCO listings and such. I mean, I think it's great for Stella Artois. I'm not sure it's great for David Beckham.
No. Wouldn't it make more sense to get a man from where Stella is? Well, actually, I was going to say made, but do they make it in the UK as well?
They make it all over, yeah. Here? But Leuven in Belgium is the original place. I don't know. Yeah,
Belgium. A fine Belgium influencer, maybe.
Like they got Mads Mikkelsen for Carlsberg.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's cool. Like, if you're from the country where Mads is from, you're doing all right, I think. I mean, he's way too cool for that brand.
And I'd argue that David. I wouldn't say that David Beckham is cool. He's fashion. He's what is David Beckham? I'm not quite sure, but
he's like a sort of. He's just like he's like a handsome icon sort of man, doesn't he? Does he still have a very high pitched voice like he used to? I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I presume it wouldn't have dipped. Does it dip as you get older? Yeah. I don't know. Does your voice get deeper?
Does if you slow yourself down in videos, Johnny?
David Beckham 100% would give you a migraine. That's for sure. I mean, I think it's a good matchup. I feel like David. I don't know. Sports stars and beer is such a prevalent thing, and most famously it's Bayern Munich with Paulaner. It feels slightly strange to me to have somebody in such great condition, a proper alpha male athlete being I don't think that's a great thing for David, but I think it's great for Stella to be like, look, you can look like David Beckham and drink 8 pints of Stella a night, and I'm not sure that's true.
Yeah, I don't think that's true either. Who would be your premium ambassador? Who would be the face of cask for you? Anyone, not just someone, a sportsman or whatever. It could be anyone.
That's such a great question. I'd love to put that out to the Patreons and to social. Who should be the face of cask?
I think we want a really handsome face. I think Brad Pitt would be a great face of cask.
No, I think that's a bit like kind of cognitive dissonance. The person who I would probably pick, and he was an honorary member of the British Guild of Beer Writers, would have been David Myers. Somebody like that with a big profile.
Man.
Yeah. And clearly, genuinely a beer lover. The beer has to be genuine, right? Beer drinkers, because they're tribe, we're in tribes in beer generally. They'll sniff out, they'll know that David Beckham doesn't drink a 4-pack of Stella every night. And that's why I don't quite think it's the right match.
I'd like to see the dude from The Big Lebowski drinking a pint of cask.
He'd be. The actor Jeff Bridges. He'd be a great face for cask. Although the American thing would be an issue, but
yeah. Well, I just think it'd be great. He didn't know what it was, and then he tries it, and he's like, "Is it a White Russian? Maybe he's
fucking A, man.
Maybe there's some dancing involved. Fucking A, man. This has nothing to do with the war." It could be great. And then bring in some of the other characters as well. Why not? Just make it basically just The Big Lebowski, but the cast of The Big Lebowski as, cask ambassadors would be wonderful for
Okay.
me. Thank you.
Well, we'd love to hear what your thoughts would be, and genuinely, you might come up with the person that we approach as part of the campaign that we're working on. So you could change the face of Cask. As a little update, the main issue with us trying to get Cask listed by UNESCO was the fact that the UK government hadn't ratified the element of the UNESCO treaty that applies to intangible heritage, so not a building, but like something cultural. And now it looks like they're going to. And we, along with some other people, some other breweries and lawyers, have put forward a proposal for Cask to be included. So progress is being made, and hopefully more progress will be made as we film Keep Cask Alive. So fingers crossed that's going to happen. Should we talk about this week's video?
Yeah, I just want to say we've actually talked about beer for most of this.
We have, haven't we?
Thus far, which is very impressive. Been pretty good, Johnny.
Yeah,
we're getting better at this, eh?
Well,
yeah. Well, maybe less random rants from me.
We'll see if it works.
Some people might appreciate, others maybe not.
It's going to be split.
But yeah,
it's going to be a split.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
like
so this
Johnny,
week...
it's going to be a split, like all of the drinks in this week's video.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
So yeah, this week was a video, an idea that I had that kind of got away from us. I kind of thought there'd be more genuinely interesting and delicious plays on Guinness. But actually, there's not. And the two fancy ones that I did didn't really work.
Well, I mean, from the comments, Johnny, there's friggin' loads of them that we missed. And we got some of ours slightly wrong as well, which is another thing.
Did we get them wrong? Hey, what did we get wrong?
Apparently the badger should have a shot of something in it as well.
Oh my God, no. No, it shouldn't.
I think it was the badger. I'm pretty sure it was the badger. Or maybe it was the one with the... I can't remember. One of them was wrong anyway.
Oh, good.
Supposedly.
Good to know we also got our research right. I mean, I was looking through that. I've had quite a few people mention Guinness and cider, which to me sounds like it's just going to taste like a Guinness with acetaldehyde, but people tell me it's tasty. Guinness and raspberry or cherry lambic could be delicious.
Yeah.
I know that Timmermans did collaborate with Guinness on a blend, but it wasn't a fruited lambic, it was a straight lambic. I think I did have it years and years ago and don't remember hating it. It was Guinness Original blended, I think, with Timmermans lambic. Guinness and Tia Maria was suggested.
Yeah,
I mean, coffee and sweetness added to Guinness, that probably works really nicely. I wish we'd had that over probably all four of the ones we did.
I've been told by @Jagger, a proper badger has Smirnoff Ice, Guinness, and a floating shot of Sambuca.
Oh no!
At least it did when I was in college. Horrible. Although you know what, I googled that and that never came up for me. The Sambuca shot never came up.
I mean, this is the thing, right? Lots of these are traditions that might be sort of based in universities, bars, friendship groups that they assumed has come from somewhere, but maybe it hasn't. So, you know, the ones that we found were ones that we had multiple sources for, and obviously Black Velvet is quite a famous cocktail. I don't get why, because as somebody in the Patreon forum found the perfect gif for it, which is where Homer, I think he's teaching people as one of the plots, and he decides to get a jacket with leather patches on, and so he sews some leather patches onto one jacket, and Marge is like, "You've ruined a perfectly good jacket," and he goes, "Correction, Marge, I've ruined two perfectly good jackets," then holds up another one where he's cut the leather patches out. And it's basically that, because it ruined Guinness and it ruined champagne.
Yeah. Ruin's a strong word, but it certainly didn't taste as good as champagne or Guinness.
Okay.
But it wasn't
muted.
Muted.
I mean, I still, if I was drinking a pint of Guinness or a glass of champagne and somebody came along and dumped some of the other in there, I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, that's a waste.
Yeah.
You've wasted it.
Yeah, agreed.
So, I was not enamored with any of them. And in the comments, we took some flack in the comments. A certain brand ambassador for Guinness just replied with, "Oh, lads." Which...
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I missed that.
Oh, yeah, Guinness are watching. Guinness know.
There you go.
So we'll see We'll see if the Guinness mafia,
if you're listening,
if the kin style
pay for us to
violence will
come and
our way.
make film. Well, I'd love to do an Irish road trip where we see all the delights of Ireland, Johnny. Guinness, if you're listening, you can fund us, please. We'd love to come over and we'll talk about Guinness
again, Bradley.
a bit.
It's a bad week for us to make that pitch.
Oh,
you implied that Smirnoff Ice, which is one of their brands, spreads myxomatosis.
Well, I don't know about that.
Apparently, badger spread tuberculosis. Somebody in the comments said
tuberculosis. Yeah. A different osis.
Different
osis. A less fun osis, a more human infecting osis. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we shouldn't have touched that with basketball, really. Probably should have hit the cutting room floor with some of the other gags.
Do you reckon?
Maybe.
I mean, we cut it right back. It was a much longer video when I first showed it to Brad as the first edit. So lots disappeared, and anybody expecting an editor's cut will be disappointed. My favourite comment on our video was from user-BT5SO5TX4L, which is usually not the sign of a good comment.
No.
That kind of
I've literally just WhatsApped this to you as well, this comment, Johnny, because I loved it.
Yeah.
But it's too long for me to read. I will just not be able to get my words out. This is a cracker, this one. Please go ahead.
Okay, so user BT5SO5TXL4L says, these don't even come close to the worst Guinness cocktail I've ever had. Once, after a sweaty day sightseeing in Kyoto, I popped into a place that was describing itself as a German beer keller. Upon entering, it was soon obvious. All they sold was Guinness. The whole drinks menu was variations on Guinness. So French Guinness was black velvet, English Guinness was mixed with cider. Knowing that this was the only time I'd have such a choice, I chose the Japanese Guinness, which was Guinness with egg. I assumed this would be Guinness with a raw, cracked egg into it, perhaps like a hangover cure. But when the pint came, it was a creamy-headed Guinness. I'm going to feel a bit sick saying this next bit. With minced, hard-boiled egg swirling around within. I took a terrible gulp. Sorry, I've misread it. Every terrible gulp I took only left a greater egg to Guinness ratio, until eventually there was a slurry of minced egg at the bottom of the glass. Don't understand this next bit, which demanded to be downed in one. Is there like a devil on your shoulder? And then, understatement of the century, not exactly the refreshing pint I've been hoping for when I walked in.
It's amazing. It's an amazing story. I hope it's true. Like, that is so good that there's a bar in Tokyo somewhere that's
Kyoto
calling itself like a German beer. Sorry, Kyoto.
Don't send people
selling itself as a beer
around Tokyo going, where's the place that serves egg Guinness?
Yeah, just the idea that it's a German beer keller themed place, but all they serve is Guinness, like a not normal Guinness, like disgusting, horrendous. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. What an amazing story.
Like, there's so many things that a Japanese Guinness could be. You know, you could add soy. That might work quite nicely.
Sake.
Whiskey. They make fantastic whiskey in Japan.
Yeah,
and yet they went for egg.
Yeah, eggs. I mean, eggs are everywhere, aren't they? They're not just a Japanese thing.
Well,
I like the fact that it's minced as well, like a minced hard-boiled egg.
Well, you're clearly not going to get the texture you're looking for if it's just a whole boiled egg.
But like that's going to look like upchuck in a glass, isn't it? Like someone's vommed in their own glass. It's terrible, horrendous.
I'm amazed it wasn't even like that weird sort of foamy egg that you get in sushi. I wonder if that would just soak up all the Guinness and it would be like just drinking a wet sponge. But that would at least be more Japanese.
I guess you could make a meringue egg.
I mean, meringue with Guinness would be great.
Meringue with Guinness, that's the thing, isn't it? A meringue Guinness.
Yeah.
Nice. Like maybe a lemon meringue Guinness? Or is that too much flavour?
I don't know whether you want the acidity. Well, I guess if it works with lambic, maybe.
Lemon meringue Guinness.
We're already starting to see what next year's offence to Diageo is going to be.
I'm gonna open up a restaurant, Jenny. I'm gonna serve lemon meringue Guinness pie with with minced boiled egg on the top of it, because it has to be. Surely it's wonderful. Very 70s as well, isn't it? Like a minced boiled egg. It seems like a sort of 70s dish you might get. They used to love just putting things in gelatine, didn't they? Like just whole sausages or whole fish in like gelatine, in like a jelly mold. Sounds rank, man. Properly, that sounds horrendous. Definitely worse than the black and blue, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, at least you know, like texture-wise, it's the texture of that that's kind of the worst. Because I'd imagine the Guinness flavour would pretty much mask the egg. Well, as the ratio got worse, it wouldn't. But that texture must just be horrendous.
Yeah. There's nothing more disconcerting, I think, than having like a big glug of something that you really want to drink, and then it having lumps in it, unexpected lumps.
Unexpected lumps. There's the podcast name.
That is not good. Unexpected lumps.
Do you know? No one's going to click that podcast. It'll be something else. Yeah, I mean, grim. So I hope. I don't know. Did you go back to the bar and get like just a straight Guinness, or did you go like, you know what?
Doesn't sound like you could.
Sounds good now.
Should we go to some other comments, Johnny? What do you reckon?
Yeah, go for it.
But that was also my favourite too. I just wouldn't be able to read it all out in one go. Geraine Fairies said, "This is the weirdest episode of MASH I've ever seen." Which is a fair comment. Have you ever watched MASH, Johnny? We both did look like we're in the Vietnam War, which I'm glad people are starting to pick up on that. My Love and Beer T-shirt design is a kind of cultural reference to like that kind of thing. US kind of fatigues, military fatigues, but kind of throw back to people, conscientious objectors, and all the kind of Vietnam War era imagery, which is like, amazing. All the sort of subcultural stuff that was happening with the hippies at the time, people getting drafted, and peace and love and having to go to war in those sort of circumstances. Yeah, that is spot on as a reference there. So I appreciate that one. There were just so many comments that I thought were very good. Mr. Rougelot, who is an old favourite, obviously, he said 3 months ago, how to drink embarrass himself with beer content he obviously had no idea about. Johnny and Brad immediately went, two can play at that game. So yeah, fair enough, called it. Father Earth 93 said, Brad has not given me any new cocktail ideas today, but he sure has given me a hit of Student Association nostalgia. Smirnoff Ice. Yeah, I think I don't know if it made it to the video, but I don't think it did. I said I went to art school, so it is now University Arts London, but at the time it was Central St Martin's Art School. And we had a little bit of a student union, but it wasn't like what I've seen in films and TV shows, Johnny, where it's lads, and everyone's drinking really rogue drinks, like what we drank on this. So I've never really experienced that. Like, I've never drunk a WKD Blue before. But you did go to an actual uni, so you've probably seen some of these horrors. But
yeah, I mean, I've drunk WKD Blue before. I don't really remember doing it, but I must have done, because that's kind of what you drank, because they do like offers of like, for the next hour it's going to be £2 for 4 of these bottles or something utterly unconscionable. So I would have drank it. I didn't realise it had caffeine in. That was a bit of a shock when I read those ingredients.
Yeah, that was a weird one, wasn't it? Just to get you like extra aggro when you've drunk your 10 pints of whatever and your 6 chasers of WKD Blue caffeine fueled nightmareness. But yeah, another person said, "My name is not Corey." This is their comment. Mum, can we watch Cold Ones? And then this is Mum's reply. We have Cold Ones at home. So they're saying in this episode, we are like a shit version of Cold Ones. Fair point.
Yay.
I mean, I'm not a Cold Ones watcher, but they certainly do tread in these waters, I guess.
Well, I mean, there were references to YouTube channels I do respect, such as Constantine Baum.
Constantine.
Good to see our viewers are watching him. He's a brilliant, the youngest master of wine in Germany, and has a great YouTube channel which I've really enjoyed. And I have emailed him about collaboration, and he's up for it. So maybe something is coming our way. In terms of that, maybe a blind taste test together or something.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I'd love that. I've got one more comment for you, Johnny.
Go on, then.
This is from a credible name of a YouTube commenter. By YouTube Views 32, this is from. They said, the integration of humour, where appropriate, adds a lightness to the narrative. It's a reminder that joy can coexist with deeper emotions.
Bradley, you beautiful, naive person. you know what that comment is, right?
It's got to be AI or something.
Yeah,
presumably.
it's AI.
What is it from?
If you click through to that, there'll be.
It's 100% AI.
Selling
but
you
I was
something.
like, it's hilarious. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, by YouTube Views.
Yeah,
so they're trying to sell us YouTube Views.
Yeah.
Using AI comments.
Yeah. Using a very poetic, deeper discussion about coexisting with humour. Yeah, it's nonsense, Johnny. So I like that. I thought that was good. I bowed down to our robot overlords. Yeah. So there you go.
Right. Well, I'm going to go buy some YouTube Views, and you're going to go hug a computer. And that's about all we have time for this week. So next week, like I say, we're back on our more serious, but still, what did By YouTube Views say? Introducing humour, integration of humour.
Integration of humour.
So more serious content next week as we highlight some of our most underrated breweries and indeed talk about the nature of hype. But we shall integrate humour to add lightness to the narrative, so we can all coexist with deeper emotions.
Oh, dude, we've all got to try and have some deeper emotions. I know we're all second screening right now, but I'd like some deeper emotions in our content.
Right,
certainly would.
Yeah.
On that note of deeper emotions, Johnny, happy St. Patrick's Day to you, sir. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time. The official birthday party of, I think, the whole world gets involved at this point, don't they, in Paddy's Day? It's just a great crack. Everyone gets together, has a good time. And, what would you say if you're not going to drink Guinness? What would you suggest to drink as a craft fan,
it depends where you are in the world. But, I thought that
we could
Slow
drink
Life...
London Black, couldn't we, if
London
we were
Black,
about?
Slow Life from Whiplash was great. There's... oh my gosh, I can't even remember what White Hag's Nitro Stout is called.
That's a good one.
There's lots of great Nitro Stout out there. It's a wonderful style, and if you don't want to just drink Guinness, or if you can't get hold of Guinness, or if you want to support small, independent, and hopefully ethical businesses, then there's loads of options out there. So please do that. And also let us know who you think the face of Cask should be, because I'm genuinely serious. I want to know. So send us that on your socials, or send us an email at craftbeerboys@gmail.com, and we will read them all, and we will turn around the fortunes of Cask, and also get the Devonshire to start.
Ian McKellen.
Talking about the Cask. Ian McKellen, maybe.
Ian McKellen.
Also might be a great shout.
Craggy, beautiful face man. Yeah. Great face.
Craggy somehow does seem right. Right, well, yeah. Until Wednesday, love and beer. Have a great weekend. Have a great St. Patrick's Day. And we'll see you for the hangovers on Monday. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's Craft Beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the Craft Beer channel, and if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.